Long ago, in the very forest surrounding the village lived Kofi, a lion of formidable presence. He was not merely a lion, he was the acknowledged king of the jungle, revered for his immense strength and raw power. Yet, this reverence was often overshadowed by a pervasive fear. For Kofi was equally known for his ferocity, a hunger that kept the forest animals in a constant state of anxiety. Their lives were a perpetual tightrope walk, each creature acutely aware that Kofi's next hunt could claim any one of them. Amidst this atmosphere of apprehension, there was one creature who defied the pervasive fear, Nia, a remarkably clever antelope. Unlike her timid peers, Nia harbored a unique conviction. Survival, she believed, did not inherently demand endless conflict. She often observed Kofi from a safe distance, not just out of caution but with a keen eye that perceived something beyond his fierce exterior, a profound loneliness hidden within his eyes. This observation sparked a nascent hope within her, a daring idea that perhaps, just perhaps, there was another way. Driven by a blend of sheer desperation and an audacious curiosity, Nia did the unthinkable. One fateful day she approached Kofi. Her voice, though steady, carried the subtle tremor of courage in the face of immense danger. Great Kofi, she began, her gaze unwavering, why do you hunt us so relentlessly? We could live in harmony if you chose to share the forest. Her words, a direct challenge to his very nature, caught the lion completely off guard. Kofi, taken aback by this diminutive antelope's sheer bravery, responded, what do you propose, little antelope? I am a lion, my nature is to hunt. Naya, given this unexpected opening, paused to gather her thoughts. A brilliant idea, born of her insightful observations, crystallized. What if, she offered, her voice gaining confidence, I help you find food without fear. In return, you promise to protect us from outsiders who may harm our home. This proposition was revolutionary, an unheard of concept in the jungle's rigid hierarchy. Intrigued by the audacious offer and perhaps a flicker of the hope Naya carried, Kofi agreed, and so against all odds an unusual partnership was forged. Naya, with her intimate knowledge of the forest, became Kofi's guide, leading him to areas where prey was plentiful and easy to find, thus minimizing the need for relentless fear-inducing hunts. In return, Kofi, the once feared predator, transformed into a formidable protector, ensuring the safety of all the animals from external threats like poachers and rival predators. As the weeks seamlessly transitioned into months, the forest underwent a remarkable transformation. It flourished not just in vegetation but in spirit. The once fearful animals, seeing Coffee's newfound role, began to trust him. The constant anxiety that had permeated their lives slowly dissipated, replaced by a sense of security, and Coffee, in turn, discovered a profound sense of camaraderie in their company. He began to shed his solitary existence, sharing stories of his youth, of the burdens that came with his role as king, and the deep seated loneliness he had endured. Nia listened intently and, in reciprocity, shared tales of the antelope's remarkable resilience during challenging times like droughts and storms, further cementing the bonds of their extraordinary alliance. The tranquility and flourishing life in the forest, so painstakingly built upon trust and cooperation, faced its most severe test when a great drought struck the land. The skies, once generous with their life-giving rains, became a relentless brassy expanse. The vibrant green of the foliage withered and turned brittle, and the once gurgling streams receded into dusty beds. The most immediate and devastating consequence was the scarcity of food. Berries shriveled, tender shoots disappeared, and the usual abundance of prey dwindled to alarming levels. This sudden and dire change in the environment sent ripples of panic through the animal community. The unity they had fostered, the fragile peace they had cultivated, began to fray under the immense pressure of survival. Old instincts, primal and self-preserving, kicked in with unforgiving force. The communal spirit that had bloomed in the wake of Kofi and Naya's partnership started to recede, replaced by an every animal for itself mentality. Fear, a potent and corrosive emotion, once again overshadowed the newfound harmony. In their desperation, a dangerous shift in blame began to take hold. The animals, struggling to comprehend the environmental catastrophe, turned their anxiety and frustration towards Kofi. They began to murmur, then openly accuse, believing that his continued hunting, even under the terms of their agreement, had somehow contributed to their scarcity. They overlooked the vastness of the drought's impact, projecting their fear onto the one they had recently learned to trust. The old apprehension, though dulled by months of peace, began to resurface. Witnessing this heartbreaking division among his friends, the community he had grown to protect and even cherish, Kofi felt a deep sorrow. The weight of the accusations, the fraying bonds, and the return of their fear gnawed at him. He understood the desperation, but it pained him to see their unity crumble. In his distress, he turned to the one who had become his steadfast confidante, his closest ally in this new way of life, Nia. "What can we do?" he asked her, his voice heavy with concern, "to heal our community?" Naya, ever the beacon of wisdom and foresight, considered his question deeply. She knew that simply finding more food wouldn't be enough. The true wound was the fracturing of their spirit. "Let's host a gathering," she suggested, her eyes alight with an idea that mirrored their initial approach to peace. "We'll share our stories of survival and hope, reminding everyone of our strength when united." It was a simple yet profound proposal, aiming not just to address the physical hunger, but the deeper spiritual one that threatened to tear them apart. Naya's insightful suggestion was put into action that very evening, as dusk painted the sky with hues of orange and purple, and the four stars began to twinkle like scattered diamonds. Kofi and Naya invited all the animals to gather. The atmosphere was initially tense, a palpable mix of apprehension and lingering resentment from the drought's impact. Yet, drawn by curiosity and a deep seated hope for respite, they came. Under the vast starlit canopy, the unlikely duo stepped forward. Kofi, the once feared king, spoke first, his powerful voice resonating with a new humility. He didn't just speak of the present drought, he shared their histories, acknowledging the individual struggles each species had faced over generations. He spoke of the lion's solitary existence before Nia, of the inherent burdens of leadership, and the profound sorrow he felt seeing their newfound peace unravel. Nia followed, her voice a soothing balm, complementing his narrative with tales of the antelope's resilience, of their collective strength during past droughts and storms that had tested their very existence. They emphasized the importance of standing together, reminding everyone that their survival was intrinsically linked, a concept they had nearly forgotten in their fear. What followed was a truly transformative experience. The gathering wasn't just about solemn speeches, it was about reconnection. They began to share food, small meager portions from their dwindling stores, but offered with a spirit of solidarity. The simple act of breaking bread together, even in scarcity, began to mend the emotional tears. Soon hesitant laughter bubbled up, then swelled as animals recounted shared memories, moments of unexpected kindness, funny encounters, and times they had collectively overcome smaller challenges. It was a powerful reminder of the bonds they had formed, the trust they had built, and the sense of belonging they had found in their unique community. As the night wore on, under the silent gaze of the ancient trees, a profound realization dawned upon the animals. Despite their inherent differences as predator and prey, as grazers and hunters, they were all irrevocably part of the same ecosystem. Their fates were intertwined. The drought, while a formidable adversary, had inadvertently highlighted this undeniable truth. With renewed conviction spurred by Kofi and Nia's leadership and their shared stories, they pledged to support one another. This wasn't just a promise, it was a commitment to practical solutions. They resolved to pool resources, sharing what little food and water they found, and to combine their knowledge of the forest to collectively discover new water sources and foraging grounds. The initial cracks of division began to seal, replaced by a reinforced sense of unity, a collective determination to survive the drought together, not as individuals, but as one interdependent community. Months later, the long awaited miracle arrived. The rains finally returned, soft at first, then in glorious life giving torrents. The parched earth drank deeply, and almost as if by magic, the forest burst back to life. Brown, brittle landscapes transformed into a vibrant tapestry of green. The streams, once dusty furrows, swelled and sang with renewed vigor. With the return of abundance, the animals not only survived but thrived, their relationships deepened by the shared ordeal and the remarkable unity they had forged. The transformation was profound, especially for Kofi and Naya. Kofi, the once feared predator, had fully evolved. He was no longer just the king of the jungle by might, but a respected protector. His leadership now stemming from trust and love, not fear. His roars were no longer a signal of impending danger, but a comforting presence, a sign of security. Naya, the brave antelope who dared to challenge the status quo, became a living legend, a symbol of courage and wisdom. Her story echoed through the trees, a testament to the power of empathy and the strength found in unlikely alliances. Far away in the nearby village, Mama Amina brought her captivating tale to a close, her eyes twinkling with the warmth of the crackling fire. Remember, my children, she began, her voice soft but resonant. Survival is not just about enduring hardships, it's about understanding one another. In our stories, we find peace and the strength to rise together no matter the challenge. The villagers, young and old, nodded in agreement, their faces alight with inspiration. They grasped the profound message of Kofi and Nia's story. They understood that in their own lives, within their own community, just like in the forest, harmony could be achieved through empathy, courage, and the willingness to listen. It was a powerful lesson that transcended the animal kingdom, offering a blueprint for human connection. As the gathering dispersed and the villagers made their way home, the stars shone brightly above, a silent cosmic reminder that peace is always within reach when hearts are open and stories are shared. The tale of the lion and the antelope would live on, whispered from generation to generation, a timeless testament to the power of unity and the possibility of transforming fear into friendship.